Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle with the Osceola Library System, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to our animal communication program with animal communicator and mindfulness coach, Mitchell Osborn. Mitchell has worked with the library many times and has covered a wide variety of topics. Earlier this summer, he covered the basics of dream interpretation. If you're interested to learn more or to rewatch that presentation, you can check out that video on our YouTube page. Our username there is Osceola Library, but I'll place a link directly into the chat so that you'll be able to access it there as well. In case this is your first time tuning in with us, this program is a part of our summer learning series, which includes activities and live events for both children and adults. We have virtual escape rooms, trivia, cooking demos, and so much more. To see everything you've been missing, visit osceolalibrary.org/summer-learning. And I'll put a link to that in the chat as well. We're also hosting reading and activity challenges on the Beanstack Reading app. This is a free app available on both Android and Apple devices. Sign up and complete those challenges and you could be one of our prize winners. At the end of this program, I'll be sharing a Beanstack secret code word to give you points for attending today. Feel free to ask any questions or place any comments you'd like during the presentation into the chat box. All questions and comments will come directly to me and then will be passed along to Mitchell at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, feel free to put it in all capital letters so that we won't miss it. Looks like we're just about ready to get started, so without further ado, please welcome animal communicator Mitchell Osborn. Thanks for being here, Mitchell.
Well, hello. I think I'm unmuted and I'm ready to dive into this. So thank you so much to everybody there at the Osceola Library. Yes, I have had, my goodness, it's probably been about 3 or 4 years being out there. So I think I heard somebody. So if you're not muted, go ahead and mute yourself. If not, one of the hosts will do that for you. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to start a presentation in just a moment about animal communication. And then at the end, we'll do questions like they said, but because once I get the slide presentation up, I don't get to see the questions so much. So any questions before we get started about what's going to happen? Like I said, I'll do the presentation and then we'll have questions at the end. And if not, then we're going to get going. So you can see all the links that they talked about over on the side of the upcoming event. So let me dive in and share my screen and get started. So hopefully you can now see my screen. And the challenge is, if you need to communicate with me, Osceola Library, I don't know how you'll do that because I can't see any comments whatsoever. You'll have to private message me or something. So my name is Mitchell Osborn. I am a psychic, a medium, animal communicator, and I do mindfulness transformation coaching. I'm a hypnotherapist with transpersonal clinical hypnotherapy certification with 500 hours. But I do a lot of like eye movement therapy, Eft Tapping, NLP programming. I do have a full-time career in health and fitness, and I do this work nights and weekends. You can find me at mitchellosborn.com if you want to learn more about me. And I am all over the social media platforms. So you can find me out there once you get to my website. And I do a lot of posting on a regular basis. So let's dive into this. And I will keep track of the time as well so we don't get too far behind and have room for those questions at the end. All right, so. All right, it's not letting me, there we go. I knew it would let me advance somehow. So first of all, that's Sheldon. He is still with me and my husband. He is gonna be 19 years old next month. He does not look like this. He's got a lot more gray, but he is an amazing little being that has shared my life for almost 14 years. So this is what I believe the animals are in our lives for, and it can be multiple things. It can be one specific thing, but I absolutely believe that they are here to help us heal, They are here to teach us things. And some of the biggest things I see in the work that I do is the mirroring or reflecting back. And I'll dive into more of this as we go. I also think that they're here to help us, personally develop, grow, spiritually, enlighten, and just overall help us to become, more of our authentic self and true kind of beings. So when you want to connect with your animal that may share your house with you, or an animal out there in the world, say you keep seeing like, let's say you see like a rabbit in your house yard or something like that, a little bit more, this is not necessarily one that's in your house, but they keep showing up. One of the best things you can do is lead from your heart chakra and connect that way. And by connecting from your heart to their heart is one of the best ways to communicate, to connect, to feel, to have that, interaction with them. When you do that, if you're going to work with like your animal in your house, say you have a cat or a dog or a snake that lives in your house, you might call your pet or your animal. You want to stay in a very calm, centered, peaceful place. And the biggest reason for this is so that your energy, as you're about to connect with them, is not kind of out there, unstable, kind of, off a little bit. Because imagine, you're home, you're in the kitchen, you're cooking dinner, and your significant other comes in screaming and yelling, not necessarily at you, but maybe at the traffic. It's kind of jarring to you. So your animal will feel that same thing. So do the best you can to stay in this calm, centered, peaceful place. If you're going to actively communicate with them, connect with them, one thing you can do absolutely is take some slow, deep breaths, become very mindful, and stay in that moment and stay very focused. And that will help you, and it will help them as well, because it's not that shock of your energy coming up. And then when you're ready to communicate, ask permission. And the best way I can describe this is you're sitting on a park bench and some stranger comes up, sits down and starts talking to you, asking about your life. You're like, well, who are you? Why are you here? Or, they're like you're sitting in a restaurant with your family and there's an extra seat. Somebody comes up and just sits down. You would, if there was a limited seating, you might say, hey, do you mind if I share this table with you? So definitely ask permission. It's more like honoring their being. And that's one of the best ways that you can connect with them and get a good connection. Just like if you are walking down the street and you see someone's dog, how many of you want to reach down and pet it? I know now, first of all, ask the human, may I? And they may say no. So you need to be prepared to get a no. And then ask the animal, and you can do it energetically in your mind. Is it okay if I pet you? And then when you're working with the animal, realize you might work with the animal's energy directly. Their communication might be very clear. When I work with a client, say you were to book a session with me and you have a horse and you send me a picture beforehand and I connect with that. I ask questions before I even call you the client. And I would connect with the horse's energy. Now, I may be speaking directly with the horse, or I may be talking to what I call like a translator or their higher self. I'll be honest, a horse, I usually am talking right to them. Most cats, I'm talking right to them. Smaller dogs, I am usually talking right to their energy. Bigger dogs, like say like a Saint Bernard or Labrador, a lot of times it's the translator or the higher self. Because typically, and not always, but typically the larger the dog, the more I feel their dogness, their animalness. The smaller the animal, cats almost always, I feel like they're very evolved, so I feel like I'm communicating with them. And then be open to whatever you get. If you get quiet and you connect with that bunny rabbit in the yard, like you're sitting there having coffee, looking out and there's a bunny rabbit, you may say, oh, hey, let me connect with you from heart to heart. May I have permission to talk to you? I'm calm, I'm centered. Why are you here today? What do you have to tell me? Is there anything you want to show me? Be open. If all of a sudden you start feeling like there's a story coming from this bunny rabbit, even though it may be about their life as a grandmother raising their grandkids, take it. It could be metaphor. It could be them showing you a simple story that you can relate to that will help you for what's going on in your life right now. So just be open to it. And then really try to understand how you receive the information. And how you receive it are right below. So You've probably heard of clairvoyance. That is where you clearly see. So you may see objectively or subjectively, and objectively is external. So you might see like an animal in your yard, and then you might see like an angel standing next to them. That's objectively. Or in your head, you might see the animal that's in your yard, but you might see like in your mind's eye, like an angel kind of talking to the animal. Clairaudient is clear hearing. You might hear external, just like you hear my voice, that's, you know, objectively, but you might hear that little voice inside your head that's saying, yes, it's okay. You know, take that job, jump forward. It's okay. The luck is on your side, the rabbit's telling you. And then clairsentient is feeling. This, you've probably heard the word empath. A lot of people feel this way and, you know, better understand. And then the two weird ones, I think they're weird because, you know, we're talking about, you know, people and animals and stuff. Clairgustance, which is tasting. If you've ever, all of a sudden you're tasting something, or clairalience, you smell something. If I smell mothballs, I pretty much know that my grandmother's energy is near me, because that was kind of her way of connecting with me. So, and then use images or pictures. This is a lesson in a nutshell. So imagine in your household, you've got a dog. And in your household, the dog is not allowed on the couch or the furniture. And you come into the living room and the dog is on the couch. You're going to probably go, get off the couch, get off the couch. No, don't get on the couch. And the image you're sending them is a picture of them on the couch. And what I often will pick up if I say something like that, or I see people doing that, the image the person is sending the animal is a picture of them on the couch. And the dog's kind of like, well, I feel like you want me off the couch, but the picture you're sending me is me on the couch. So I feel like I'm confused. I'm not sure. So if you walk into the living room and your dog is on the couch, flip it to the positive of what you want. Oh, you walk in, Fido, you're on the couch. Okay, Fido, go to your bed. Sleep over here, lay down on the ground. Here's your blanket. So send the image of what you want, matching the words. So the words and the image will help that. Animals absolutely connect more with images than anything else, than the words. Another good example, in a previous house I lived in, there was a black snake in the backyard. Harmless snake. I actually like snakes. I normally wouldn't care, but I had two small dogs, and I don't know if they might try to eat it, and that could be poisonous, or if it's poisonous to a small dog. And it was only maybe like 2 or 3 feet long. So I went out there and I sent the images. I said, thank you for being here. This is a safe space for you, but because I have small dogs, I'm going to ask you to leave. I want you to slither your way out. There's plenty of places around the neighborhood for you to live, not in this yard. And I just sent the images, go outside, move through the gate, a lot of that. And the snake slithered out the gate, and I never saw him again. So I'm hoping they were off somewhere having a good life. So, all right, let me move on. So this is Toby and Sebastian. Toby is on the bottom, Sebastian is on the top. Toby is an American short hair that came into the relationship with my husband. Toby was with us until Groundhog's Day a couple years ago. He made it to 13 years old. He was a very particular, beautiful, loving cat, did not get along with a lot of people. It took me about 2 years before I could connect with him. Sebastian is a clown. He is not a grumpy cat. He is silly, silly, silly. But this is one of the best things that you can do, in my experience with clients. If your animals are doing and having behaviors that are not good, cats may spray in the house, dogs may be aggressive towards people. This one really helps, because a lot of times the animals don't know what their job description is. Why are they in your house? The biggest thing I can say is, it may sound fun to sit around all day and just eat, sleep, and poop and pee, but it probably is a little boring for them. But more importantly, they're very kind of sentient beings that have come into our lives, and they want to help us. They want to help us grow and learn and heal and all that kind of stuff. So I encourage you to figure out what job is best for them. And then what you can do is kind of apply that job to them. So for Toby, the American short hair on the bottom in this picture, he loved to lick Sheldon, who you met earlier. He loved to lick him all over. It was like he was giving him a little spa treatment. And when Sebastian came into our lives, he had that goopy eye booger stuff that Himalayan cats get. He's a flame point Himalayan. And we bought the little pads that were animal safe, which basically they were animal makeup remover. They were little round pads. And we would clean his eyes, which was kind of, pain for us. And we'd have to do it 2 or 3 times a week. And finally, I thought, let me put my money where my mouth is as an animal communicator. And Toby loves to lick. So Toby, this is gross, people. I realize this. But I said, Toby, your job is now to clean Sebastian's eyes. And I know that sounds a little gross, but you need a job. Here's what your job is. And maybe a week or 2, maybe 3 later, I noticed Sebastian's eyes were really clean. And I said to my husband, I said, did you clean Sebastian's eyes? He says, no, I haven't cleaned them since you did your thing. And I said, Toby's doing it. So Toby was cleaning. It took about maybe 2 months before we actually caught him doing it. And it is gross. It is gross to witness, but he would go up and he would lick his eyes and lick all the eye boogers off. And, Sebastian has really clean eyes now, and Toby does it on a regular basis. And when Toby passed a couple years ago, I moved that job on to Bartolomeo, who you will meet soon. So if you have questions about that, definitely save that for the end. So I will answer them about that, especially trying to figure out what their job is. Some of the popular ones are that I get when I work with people, healer. A lot of animals come into their lives to heal them. If you've got a cat or a dog that loves to touch you, especially if they just put their paw on you and just touch you, or they always are wanting to lay on you, that's usually a healer. Toby also was our bug killer, so he would get rid of the bugs in the house. Sebastian is pure comic relief. That is his main job. He is silly. He is funny. He's kind of like a rag doll. His balance is not the best, but he's just comic relief and a big love bug. He really is. He likes to touch you. All right, so we'll talk about that more. So let's move on. So this is Bartolomeo. So Bartolomeo is like almost 20 pounds. He is not fat. He's just huge. He's like an ocelot. He's like a Maine Coon. But I think the closest thing I could figure out was Egyptian Mao, but I can't really find that picture I found years ago. And the reason I put AKA Guido, because I like to talk about names. He came to us with the name Guido. And my husband is from Argentina, so I had to kind of explain what a Guido was. The funny thing is my husband is from Argentina, but his grandfather was from Sicily. So I'm like, I'm sure there were some Guidos in your family line. It's like that typical Italian mobster guy. And it's an American stereotype of the name. But so Bart had a drinking problem and he would go up and he would splash the water bowl with his hand. And he would splash it so much he would empty it and it would go against the sideboard. So once again, I said, let me do my job. Let me put my money where my mouth is. So, and speaking of water, so I sat down one day, and what I'm about to teach you, you can usually get dogs to do quickly. With cats, it takes a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer. So, and let me say real quick to my hosts, if an issue comes up and you need my attention, just bring on your camera and wave at me so I'll know to pause and see if you have something to tell me. But otherwise, I'll just keep going because I'm going blindly, so I don't know if there are any issues on the backside. So Bart was splashing the water. So I sat down and I said, okay, let me be the animal communicator. And I said, Bart, use your mouth. Use your mouth, buddy. And I would say, I would picture him leaning in and using his mouth rather than his paw, because he would splash, 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 and then lick. Splash, 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 and then lick. So I would say, Bart, use your mouth. And it took me about 5 minutes before him to finally lean down. And I could see him literally go, like he knew what I was trying to get him to do, because I'm sending the images. I was calm. I was peaceful. I was leading from my heart to his heart. And I was sending the images of him leaning over, licking with his mouth. And it took him about 5 minutes to do it. Still to this day, every once in a while, I see him staring at the water. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, use your mouth, Bart. And I'll start to put his paw in, and I'm like, Bart, use your mouth, buddy. Thank you. And when he does, I'm thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good energy, send in that good energy. So this is another one that a lot of people do, and just want to make sure that you have a plan. So when we brought Bartolomeo into the house versus when we brought Sebastian into the house, and you can see how big Bartolomeo is on the toilet there. He's really huge. And the picture of Sebastian with the tape, that is his personality right there. Just hysterical. So first of all, have a plan. And what we did when we brought Sebastian into the house with Toby, we did not have a plan, and it took 2 months for them to get along. Sebastian was a little more dominating than Bartolomeo was when he came in. But then, so we have Toby, we have Sebastian, and then we're bringing in Bartolomeo. And Bartolomeo came in, and I said to my husband, I said, we're going to go pick Bartolomeo up. We're going to bring him back. We're going to let the two dogs, Levita and or Tiffany and Sheldon, smell Bartolomeo, get used to his energy. Then we're going to put the two dogs outside. The plan. Then, and this is all in the garage, then we're going to sit down with Toby and Sebastian and let them smell Bartolomeo in the cage. So they come, they smell, they're more interested. The dogs just smelled and walked away. Oh, it's another cat, whatever. There's already two in the house. So the two cats come up, they smell. Toby kind of walks away because he's a little more, less outgoing, a little more scaredy cat type energy. Sebastian's like, what's going on? This is my house type of a feel. And then we slowly open the door. The whole time I'm envisioning them being nice, licking, laying next to each other, sharing the water bowl, sharing the food bowl, sharing a bed. All the images I'm sending are good, positive, what I want to happen. If I were to open the door and I would be thinking and worried, oh my God, are they going to get in a fight? Are they going to scratch each other? Are they going to scream? Are they going to yell? Like Sebastian and Toby did. I keep those thoughts out of my mind. And if I start thinking that, that's the image I'm sending them. A good example is if you've got two cats walking into the room, and the last week they walked into the room like that, they got into a tussle. If you see them walk towards each other again and you start thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to get in a fight again. Don't get in a fight. Don't get in a fight. The images you're sending is the images from last week. And they're literally going, oh, you want us to replay that scene again? Well, let's do that. We'll do that for you. But if you see them walking to each other and you think, oh goodness, they're going to love each other. They're going to be happy. They're going to just kiss and lick and be really nice. Then you're going to get more likely going to get that scene. Not always going to happen. It may take time to continue to send that images, just like it may take time to get your kid to do his homework, to eat his food, to wash his, whatever. And, just like you at work, it may take you a little while to learn that program on the computer, even though you've been taught it several times. So bear with them as they learn, but keep reminding them gently, lovingly, kindly. And then the biggest thing too is make sure all the humans are on board. If you say there's a husband and a wife and two children, and the kids are like, yes, we want a dog, we want a dog. And the wife is like, yes, I want a dog. But the husband is like, I don't want a dog. They take up a lot of time. I'm going to be the one. If not everybody is on board, then that energy, and I'm going to say of negativity or hesitation, is there. And that's when the animals can reflect that back, especially if you have other animals. If mom and dad are not agreeing, and you already have a dog and you're bringing another dog in, and mom and dad are arguing, and the dogs may reflect that arguing back to you. Because like I said, one of the biggest things I find animals doing when I work with them and they're humans is they mirror back what's going on. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. And then just again, like I said, prepare the animals, ahead of time. If you're going to pick up a cat in 3 days and you have a picture of the cat, everybody in the house, imagine the cat in the house walking through, loving, hugging, kissing, licking, start doing that. I think behaviorists will tell you, if you can take a shirt or a towel that like your dog has been laying on and take it to the kennel and let the other dog that you're going to bring home smell that, they get used to it, or vice versa. But with me, it's like you can do it energetically, just in your mind. Because when we adopted Tiffany, she had to stay at the animal shelter for 2 weeks because she was chipped, but nobody was claiming her, so they have to do their due diligence. And we visited her 2 times each over the 2 weeks. And we would send images of her coming home. We would see positive, everybody happy, happy, happy. The cats just ignored the energy. The dog was, Sheldon was more interested. So prepare them ahead of time. And the example I always use, if let's say you and I are in a relationship and we have one child, and all of a sudden one day I walk in and I say, hey, this is Amanda. Who's Amanda? Oh, I just thought I'd bring home another kid. What do you mean you adopted her? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't think it was important. Why didn't you tell the other daughter that's there? I didn't think it was important. So you bringing home an animal and without telling all the other people and humans and animals in your house is the same thing energetically as if you walked in with a new kid that you adopted and didn't tell your spouse and your other kids. So just be aware that it can be that harsh for the animals in the house. That's when the jealousy, that's when the anger, the frustration, the misunderstanding can come in. And that's when the problems can happen. I'll put it this way. The more you prepare everybody and have a plan, the more likely things are going to go smoothly. But sometimes your lesson and your journey is to have a little bit of upset to learn how to work through it. So, all right. While you're gone, and let me check time. So we got good time. So when you're gone, prepare them ahead of time. Some people believe animals don't know time. I believe they do know time, but what you can do is think sun up, sun down as a day. And what I will do, like the morning of, you get your suitcase out immediately. Those animals are like, okay, what's going on? I know this thing, I don't like this thing. When this thing comes out, the humans are gone for a long time and somebody else comes in or we go to that place. So you just want to prepare them for that you're going to be gone. And what you can do is you can just pull them together, send images. Hey, everybody, we love you. We're going to be gone for 7 days. So, sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down. You do 7 days. After 7 days, I'm walking back in the door. And you send them that image. After 7 days, sun up, sun down. I walk back in the door. You can send them the image of who's going to be taking care of them or where they're going to be staying, if it's a caretaker or a boarding place or somewhere else. And then just, let them know. Give them that, prepare them ahead of time. Once again, if all of a sudden you called your grown children, 15, 16-year-old kids from, Puerto Vallarta, hey kids, we'll be back in 7 days. They're not going to be happy with you. Well, they may be happy, but it would be a shock at first. And then while you're away, you can connect with them from heart to heart. I would encourage you to do it when you're in a calm, peaceful place. If you just missed your connecting flight on your vacation, that is not a time to connect with your animal because you're in a very volatile, upset space and connecting with them is not good. If you connect with them and you're like, oh, poor baby, I miss you, that's heavy, dense energy. And then they're going to feel that and they're going to like, where are you? I miss you too. I want you back. What you want to do is let them know you are regenerating, you are resting, recuperating. You're on the beach with the Mai Tai. You're going down swings. You're on a boat catching fish, whatever it is. Let them know because they want you to be happy. They're not like a jealous partner that you're going on a vacation and they're not. They want you to be happy. So just know that. Think of them in a positive way and connect to them in a good time. And then just, when you return, I teach this a lot and I taught this at a live session and it was hysterical because one woman brought their dog to the live session, which they were told not to. And when I got to this part and I say, on your return or at the end of the day when you come in, how many of us go, come here, come and see mommy, come see daddy. When you do that, and literally as I do that, my energy just got jacked up. When you do that, it's like you're winding them up, It's like you're giving a kid sugar and it's like, oh, what do I do? I discourage you from doing that only because you're winding them up. And it's like if you walk in and that little dog gets so excited it pees on itself. That's not really good. So when you wind them up, it can be kind of difficult for them. And when I was teaching this and I did the example, that dog jumped off the woman's lap, came up to me and started jumping up and down. So it was a perfect, and everybody thought the woman thought it was cute. Everybody else was realizing what I was teaching, that it wasn't so good. So my point is when you return, walk in calmly, walk in smoothly, put your stuff away, and then just sit down and invite them into your energy and hug them and kiss them and tell them how much you love them rather than winding them up. Because a lot of times, think about a lot of cats, you walk in and they go, oh, hey, where you been? And then they walk away. But a lot of dogs either come in wound up, and maybe it's because of their habit, their behavior, maybe because you do it already. But I would encourage you on a daily basis, when you come in, set all your things down, put your keys away, whatever you need to do, even if your dog's jumping up and down, and then go over it, calmly sit down, and then embrace their energy and their physical body. So, all right. So Lovita. So Lovita was with us with my husband for 13 years. I got to know her for about 6 or 7 years. And she did pass away. She passed away on Memorial Day about 8 years ago. And here's a lesson. Lovita passed on Memorial Day. Bartolomeo passed on Groundhog's Day. It's an odd holiday, but it was a holiday. And then Tiffany, another Pomeranian, she passed 2 days before Thanksgiving. They often come and go around the holidays. Not a given, but those holidays carry with it special energy and tradition. Oftentimes they're at, peaks of the astrological calendar or in your own personal life. Just like you hear a lot of people pass away, when the whole family's around at Christmas time or a special holiday. So just realize that if they go at that time, it was a powerful, energetic time. And then when they're gone, so Lovita passed, and the next night I heard, get your camera, get your camera. So I started taking pictures in the house, and I got orbs zipping around. And when I sat down to take the pictures, at the time, Zuzu, a Chihuahua, was staying with us for 4 years, and until her mommy came back from school in Europe. And then Sheldon, they both came and sat in my lap. It was very weird. And then I kept hearing, go outside, go outside. So out back, you'll see this orb. I hope you can see it. If you can't, just listen and trust me. That's a brick wall and then grass. So right below that orb is where she was buried. Now, I went out and took the picture, and I said, Fabian, my husband, I said, look at this. And he's like, oh, that's cool, that's neat. So I sent him the picture. And a month later, he pulls up the picture and zooms in. Now, if you can see inside that, you can see there appears to be a face, and it looks like a paw. So let me go back a moment. So see the eyes and that big nose? And maybe I'm stretching, but it was one of those things where Fabian, my non-psychic husband, said, look, but it was really pretty powerful, and it brought a lot of peace to him. And this was like his first pet and animal in this country, in this world. So it was really, really special. So reach out to them when they go. So somebody remind me, when I get back to the chat box, I want to put a link into the last point here, which is the Eft Tapping video. So I get a lot of missing animals, and I get a lot of people messaging me. And every other Sunday night I do Talking Animals with Mitchell. And if anybody ever has a missing animal, they can post a picture there. You have to post it ahead of time. It's on my Facebook page, Mitchell Osborn, Animal Communicator, Tarot Card Reader. Make sure it has all those titles in it. You'll see the event. You got to post it in the event. But anyway, so send out a call for them. It's like a beacon. And use images and pictures like we talked about to bring them home. You can imagine them walking up the street. Sometimes I say to people, they don't know what the front of your house looks like because they've always only gone out the back door. So send them an image of the front of the house. And then one of the big lessons that we have to learn is what made them leave. One time I was working, and by the way, that is not Lovita, that is Tiffany, the second Pomeranian that lived with us from age 9 till 14. She was a stray that we adopted. What made them leave? I was one time working with a client, and I kept saying, one of the animals left, and I said, "Why? They're looking for somebody. It's like a young person, like someone who's like 18 years old." And she said, "Well, I have a son." I said, "Well, where is your son?" She goes, "Oh, he just went off to college." I said, "Well, did you tell your dog that spent the last 10 years of its life sleeping in his bed that he was going to leave?" They're like, "Well, we didn't think about that." And I wasn't being as dramatic as it, but basically the animal left looking for the person that they spent their life with. And another thing I tell people, if you're a child of parents who are arguing and have a bitter, awful relationship, would you want to stay in the house? No, you would want to leave yourself. So a lot of times our energy is part of the reason why they want to leave. If someone is trying to, find themselves, then that dog may leave to try to go on that little, prodigal son journey so they can return home. So finding out why they leave, look at the energy in the house. Usually the people, sometimes the other animals, but usually the people, what's going on there. And then ask for images of where they are. See if you can pick up some, hits of, where they're located. Hold them up in a place of high vibration. Make sure that they come home into a beautiful, wonderful place. So take care of the energy in the house so that that will draw them back. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, are they laying dead in a ditch? Those are not images you want to put out there. Those are images, they're going to come up. You honor it. Okay, that's a place of worry and fear. So I'm going to hold them up that they're going to be able to cross roads and find their way home and be safe and have water and food. So continue to have the positives to bring them home. And then, the tough part, and this is what I do, I will tap into my belly area or solar plexus area to see if I can still feel their alive energy. And if I feel that more energy there versus up here in my third eye, which would, for me, would be a connection that they've crossed over and that they are passed on. That's a tough one. You can feel for movement or breathing. The challenge is when you're so invested, you're wanting them to be alive. You're wanting them to be out there. And sometimes it's good to find them so that you can have that closure. And then the EFT tapping, if you're familiar with EFT, which is an emotional freedom technique, it's a tapping on meridians. And I did a tapping video to bring the animal home. And the first tapping part is about clearing your energy. The second part is clearing their energy because you tap as a surrogate. But rather than talk you through that, I'll post a video that way on the link so you guys can go watch that video yourself. And this is, I know where you'll probably have a lot of questions, everybody. So we'll save those for the end. All right, so just to move a little quicker here, because I want to try to finish in the next 5 minutes so we have time for questions. If there's behavioral problems, you might want to determine what area it's coming from. Is it more spiritual, physical, intellectual, emotional, or social? And by doing that, this is where you just have to trust a little bit, kind of tap in. But no more than anything, it's usually the humans, not fault, but it's usually the human's energy, and it's usually the human's lesson. If a cat is spraying in your house, my first question to you as the owner would be, who are you pissed at? Who is making you mad and angry? If you've got two dogs fighting in the house, how's the relationships with the humans? If you've got a dog that's got, hip issues, I would ask you, because the hips are about balance, and it's Libra, I would ask you, are you in balance? Are you trying to find your balance? Are you out of balance? If the dog has a skin rash problem, are you allergic to something? Are you, what's your detergent? What's the environment like? If the dog starts losing its hearing, I would say to you, where are you turning a deaf ear to things? Because it can show up in your physical self or theirs. Sometimes they will absolutely mimic. I know one girl, she was young, the dog kept poking at her breast. Finally, she's like, and she's a dog person. So she's like, okay, they're trying to tell me something. She went and got a mammogram at like 28 years old, breast cancer. She's healthy, she's whole, she's healed. She's been years without it. But the interesting thing was, I don't know how long the time period was, but I don't think it was more than a year after that discovery, that dog died of cancer. And that may have been, as sad as it is, that may have been that dog's one mission to help her heal herself. And that's when I know that they are sentient little warriors coming into this world to help us grow. And as a medical intuitive, a psychic and medium, I will often in a session, I will scan their body, scan their layers, or just tap into the energy of the body, and like skin, then bones, then organs, and energy of it, and just see how it goes. Now, I don't want to touch too much on their last days, but I will say this. As your dog starts getting older, or as they start to have something going on that it's not going to be much longer, love them, connect with them. Avoid at all costs pitying them and feeling sorry for them. Most of the times they have no idea what's going on, and that's not a bad thing. It's more of they're living out their life day to day, moment to moment, in the moment, very mindful. And then next thing I know, they're gone. They're not worrying that their life, you're the one worrying that their life's coming to an end. And that can be very, very beautiful if you continue to look at them going, thank you for being in my life. this is a tough time for me, but I'm going to stay very positive for you because you're showing me how to be positive. You know, hold them up in beautiful high vibration, connect with their energy so that when they are gone, you'll feel that energy and they'll be very familiar with you when they do come to you in dreams, when they come to you just in your house, when you think you hear them tick, 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 through the house after they're gone. And then just, you know, ask them how they want to go. You can express how you would like them to go. If you want to be there with them and assist them crossing over, let them know. If that's going to be too painful for you, let them know if there's any way you can just take your last breath one day and me find you. It's painful no matter what, but whatever you feel comfortable doing, let them know how you would like them to walk out and cross over that rainbow bridge. And that's part of the beautiful kind of thing for you, that you get to kind of help them with that choice. So here are a couple resources, which that is not my that is not my website anymore. I'm going to escape out of this, and I'll touch on those websites in just a moment. So let me stop sharing my screen. So, all right, so there we go. So, yeah, so my website is, and I'll type that in, and then we can start on questions. So my website is there, mitchellosborn.com. And then let me put in the tapping video. So, and you guys, if you want to start, okay, I'm trying to get the tapping video up there. If you want to start giving me the questions, and I'm going to see if I can find the tapping video. So I know my hosts are going to somehow post the questions maybe on the screen so I can see them. And I'm seeing if I can get the... So let me know how the questions are going to pop up. And we still got a good 15 minutes. So.
Hi, Mitchell. We have opened it back up so that everyone can post freely into the chat. So there's already one question in the chat for you.
Okay, then I'll go that route. So I assume that is from Tito. So I have a super alpha male cat that really hated our other male cat so much we had to never leave them alone. Our other cat passed away. Is there any way that you could be able to introduce another cat, or are some cats just one cat households? We are very friendly stray coming around now, and my alpha male freaks out and attacks the window. The stray just lays there watching. The struggle to try and adopt a stray is strong, but I don't want to upset my alpha. So first thing I would say is, are there any alpha humans that we need to work on their alpha-ness? Because this alpha cat may be absolutely demonstrating, mirroring some human in the household that just does not want anyone else taking control. So if there's anyone in the house who wouldn't, you know, if every human in the house is like, yeah, we'd love to bring a new cat in, great. But if someone's like, no new cats, and you're trying to sneak in that cat on your own, then there could be some of that resistance from being distributed from the cat. Now, I'm not talking about alpha as the mommy. I'm talking about like aggressive personality, you know, and this is different. This is energy that the cat may be displaying or mimicking. You know, I understand what you mean by alpha cat. And yes, I will be honest, there are going to be some animals, cats, dogs, horses, that they just prefer to be alone. And you know what? Maybe that is your personality, that you don't want nobody else in your life. You've been hurt by everybody you've ever loved, and you've shut off your heart, and you don't need anybody else. And then here is where this cat is going to happen. But then, like I already said, and I used the two cats as an example, you know, start working on seeing your cat sit in the window looking at the other cat peacefully. Like, hey, what you doing out there? Maybe one day we can be friends. Maybe one day we can play together, you know, rather than, you know, okay, my cat is alpha. My cat hates every other cat. My cat just, no, you know. So be careful of the story that you might continue to support about past behaviors. And like if you just like I said, you know, if this alpha cat, you know, if you're telling people, oh, he hates everybody. Next neighbor comes in, oh, this is my alpha cat. Leave him alone. He doesn't like anybody. Just stop supporting that story and see if their energy calms down. So that's the first thing I would recommend. And then maybe call in another cat. You said guilty of that. And you know what? And you know what, Tito, this is the beautiful part about it. When people come to me with the animal communication, by the end of the session, it's the animal, it's about the human. You know, it's about the human. This is what is so beautiful about them. They love you enough that they will get you to me to say, you need to tell that human this. So, you know, and it's not that you should change your personality, but they're showing you what your personality looks like to other people, you know? So yeah, so just use that as a kind of a jumping off point. So from Osceola Library, I have a Chihuahua that tries to sleep on our head and our pillow at night. Is there any particular reason that he prefers to sleep there? And you know, that could, Tito, you are welcome. And that could be, you know, the Chihuahua just trying to make a connection. And then first thing I feel is if they're coming up to the head, then these are the crown chakra, third eye chakra, throat chakra area. So those are spiritual chakras versus heart, which is kind of the bridge between the lower human stuff. So this could be a very spiritually connected animal that could be there to help you kind of connect. They could be, and this is me tapping in as a psychic, they could be there to help a little bit of a gatekeeper because it's at night. I'm assuming it's at night when you're sleeping. And when we're sleeping, we're off planet, out of body, astral traveling. So they could be astral traveling with you. They could be a gatekeeper of sorts, a protector of sorts, of all things spiritual. Where do they, when you're like in the house watching TV and doing stuff like that, where does the Chihuahua show up? Are they like around your feet or anything? So you said we almost rehomed him about 2 years ago, and I'm glad we did not. On your legs. So yeah, dream time, they may be connecting spiritually. During the regular time, the legs, that's going to be the physical human stuff. So I would ask this, when you go to sleep at night, connect and just kind of say the dog's name and just kind of say, all right, I'm going to bed. Let's have a dream together. Help me understand why you're wanting to sleep here. What does that mean for me? What can I learn? How can I grow? Is there anything I can do for you? You know, just set those questions out there to the universe to receive them either in dream time or as an inspiration or as a song lyric or something like that. So what other questions, anybody? And while you're typing, I'm gonna see if I can find that link to my other video, which talks about that. All right. Let me see if I copied and pasted. Let me see if I can do that. Yep, yay, there we go. All right. So when you see the tapping for missing pet, that is a video I did that you can go watch. And it's just a little EFT tapping. This is something I use a lot for people for their own lives to kind of help. We're tapping on meridians and energy points, like acupressure points, to help alleviate stress, to bring us into a calm, centered, mindful place. But for the animals, it helps us better connect with them while they're missing. It also can help clear our energy to keep it open for bringing them home, help clear into their energy. I've had some pretty good testimonies of people using this and their animals coming back. So any other questions out there? I don't want to rush us off. I want to make sure I'm available. It has been my pleasure hanging with you guys. I hope you learned a lot. And like I said, you can connect with me on my Facebook page. And every Sunday night, I'm doing something. It's either between mindfulness and animal communication. And I'm trying to find I'm going to grab a link so I can share. Any other questions?
Looks like we have one more question in the chat box for you there, Mitchell.
Did I miss it? I don't see it. I saw Tito's, I saw Osceola. If you did post one and I missed it, cut and paste and put it back. Okay, so Osceola Library says, I get geckos between my windows and screen. They run in when I open the door, no matter how careful I am. How can I get them to trust me to go on the screen, to go onto the screen faster so I can rescue and release them outside? Sometimes it takes days. Well, first of all, and this is me stepping into a little bit more animal totem power stuff. So I'm gonna look up, oh, that's from Mishi. Okay, Mishi, thank you. So I'm gonna look up, let me see if I can find, first of all, I'm gonna find gecko. And if I can't find gecko, then I'm gonna look up lizard, just in case. So yeah, I'm gonna look up lizard, because they're very similar. And if it's in Florida, a lot of people call them geckos. We Floridians call them lizards. If you're a native Floridian, I am too. So here's what I would say. Especially if you're getting a lot of them, those are outside animals coming up for a spirit animal message. And the lizard says to us, review your dreams before you manifest them physically. It is what you really want. Perhaps you are worth so much more. And the reason I went to this, and this is spirit-animal.com. And if animals like a lizard or a gecko keep showing up in your life, they got a message for you. They are trying to tell you something. They are trying to show you something. And as much as you want to just be able to save them and help them out, I believe if you get the message, they stop showing up. Just like nightmares. If you finally get the message, the nightmare will stop showing up. So with the lizard, it symbolizes lizard symbolism is letting you know that it is time to take an internal audit. In other words, take a good look at whether or not your ego is in control of your heart. Be aware the ego is the master of deception, and you will often have to peel back many layers to get at the truth. However, the lizard meaning is saying that it is the only way to discover what your heart is telling you. Thus, like the cat spirit, you also need to take time to focus on your dreams. So that is a mission of a lizard. So I would look to that message and see how that resonates with you. So you said, Missy said, oh, wow, thank you. I've been writing my dreams out. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That is wonderful. So the lizards have a powerful message for you. And I'm going to type this in here, if I'm allowed to. Spirit-animals.com. And if you click on it and you click on like lizard, if you click on it 3 or 4 times, the top box, which is a short message, rotates through, but then you can read more about showing up in your lives and dream times, or if they're your totem. And I do a lot of work with spirit animals, totem animals, and power animals. And since we have a little time, I'll tell you the quick difference. A spirit animal is one like the gecko that would probably pop into your life, give you a message, and then get out of there. A totem animal would be if all your life you were drawn to elephants. Everywhere you went, elephants, elephants, elephants. You collected ceramic elephants, wooden elephants. You would buy shirts with elephants. That is probably a totem of yours. So you would look up and see what the animal totem means for you. And power animal is let's say you need to go on some interviews and you need to get that job and you're kind of shy and intimidated and it's a new field for you. You would draw upon tiger or lion energy as your power animal. How would a tiger or a lion walk into that room to get that job? They would be strong and forceful, you know, and that's power animal. So that's how you can utilize their energy. And that's how, again, animals show up to help us, guide us, lead us, heal us, inspire us. So much so. So, all right, you guys. So we are like 3 minutes away. So I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Please connect with me. I'm very social on social media. I do have a full-time career, so if I don't get back to you right away, I will. And if you tag me on something, then I usually will see it better as well. So thank you very much. It has been my pleasure for being here with you. I will turn it back over to my hosts.
All right. Thank you, Mitchell, so much for being here with us today. We hope everyone had a good time, and thank you so much for joining us. I would also like to take a moment to thank the St. Cloud Friends of the Library for sponsoring both programs with Mitchell Osborn this summer. Our next live adult program will be Captured Creatures, where you will learn how to turn an ordinary mason jar into something magical. That'll be this Wednesday, July 22nd at 2 p.m., live on our YouTube channel. Now it's time to share our Beanstack secret code word for the Beanstack Reading app. Today's secret code word is witch, W-I-T-C-H, witch. Input the secret code into the app to earn points towards our summer learning challenge. And don't forget to check out all of our summer learning events at osceolalibrary.org/summer-learning. Thank you again for tuning in again. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye, everyone.